There's always moments in time in sports that in the back of our minds, we know that this is a very special moment. And there's a good chance that we will never see this moment ever again. We are currently going through that very moment because a lot of people are underestimating, overestimating the head coaches that are in the AFC West right now. Just like with players, when we're watching certain players, those of us that are old enough to remember watching Barry Sanders, I mean, not the highlight reels that are plastered all over the internet and YouTube, etc., but actually sitting down to watch Barry Sanders, even if you wasn't a Lions fan, and he was going up against your team, you was afraid of what he was going to do because you wanted your team to win. No mistake about it. You wanted your team to win. But at the same time, you knew at the point in time that you was watching that game, you knew you were witnessing a future Hall of Famer. You just knew it. And you enjoyed certain moments that player that was going up against your team and he's shredding your team. The things that Barry Sanders was doing on that field, and I'm a Bears fan, and even I had to sit back like, holy shit. I can't believe he just did that. Like, whenever the ball was in his hands, you was afraid because it's like, oh man, are we going to be able to stop him? Stop him, get him. And the moves that Barry Sanders would just put on would just be like, you knew he would end up in Canton one day. You knew he would end up in the Hall of Fame one day. But you just despised it. But in that despise and that anger of watching them destroy your team, you didn't learn how to appreciate the moment at that time. Because it was a moment that was being captured. And it was rare. But you didn't know it at the time. You knew you were watching something great. But you took it for granted. You took it for granted. You thought you would see another and another and another. Sure, there were other running backs that came after Barry Sanders that were very great that will also be in the Hall of Fame. But there was something about Barry that was like, man, I know I'm watching a Hall of Famer in his prime put on a show. And I compare that to what we're going to witness next football season, the upcoming season in 2025. Sure, this season hasn't come to its full conclusion yet, but just imagine what the head coaches, all four of these coaches are future Hall of Famers. And if you're a fan of the NFL, you need to appreciate this moment because they're not going to coach forever. They're human. Sooner or later, whether health or they get bored or whatever, sooner or later, eventually, they're going to walk away from the game. That's just how it is. So this moment in time, this classic moment in time that's presented in front of you, you need to appreciate it while it's here. In the AFC West, the Raiders just hired Pete Carroll to be their head coach. Super Bowl winner. Went to 2 Super Bowls. Should have won the other one. A lot of people criticize him because didn't hand the ball off to beast mode. That blemish will forever be on his head. Then you have Sean Payton for the Broncos. And when he got there, their salary cap was a mess. Draft picks, they had traded them all away to get him. So now they hustling backwards just to steady the ship. So now he's there. He did a solid job last year. He's got Bo Nix balling. The rookie Bo Nix. If he can extract a Super Bowl caliber quarterback out of Bo Nix, and Bo Nix is in his prime. He's entering his prime because he stayed in college a while. So he came into the league with a physically, as far as his physical, NFL body. You know, some guys got to come in and they grow into their NFL body after going through a season and a half, taking those hits. Then, continuously working out, hitting that weight. Then they grow into that NFL body. But Bo Nix pretty much came into the NFL with the NFL body, even though he's a rookie. And you hand him to Sean Payton, and Sean Payton has him balling. Now, of course, they didn't reach the goal that they were trying to reach, of course, but Bo Nix is young. And if he has the ability to carry a team on his back, you're looking at a classic division. And then you have Jim Harbaugh, who before Ohio State wins the championship last year, he had Michigan just balling, rampaging through everybody to win a national championship. Every NFL team he touches gets them to the playoffs, gets them to the Super Bowl eventually. He got knocked off this year because, Justin Herbert did Justin Herbert things, but it was the first year that Jim Harbaugh had his hands on Justin. So, in the future years, I'm sure that's going to be, those kinks are going to be worked out. But you saw what Jim Harbaugh did with Colin Kaepernick. Drug the 49ers to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Ravens eventually, because, but they were, before the blackout in New Orleans, they were looking like they were going to come back and do something. But Jim Harbaugh is known to turn franchises, to turn programs, a la college, the Michigan Wolverines, his alma mater, went in there and turned them around, turned them into national champions. The LA Chargers was horrible before he got there. They wasn't sniffing no playoffs. They wasn't doing squat. They were just floundering around, barely being average to way below average. That was their MO. Jim Harbaugh comes in, takes them to the playoffs first year, because he's a Hall of Fame coach, just like Sean Payton, just like Pete Carroll. And then you have the man, Andy Reid. Resume speaks for himself. He couldn't get over the hump in Philadelphia with Donovan McNabb and Donovan McNabb and T.O., but that Philadelphia Eagles team was always in the NFC Championship game. Because of who? Andy freaking Reid. And if there were no Bill Belichick, Andy Reid would be widely considered as the GOAT coach. Yes, sir. Andy freaking Reid. Give me some of those nuggies, Reid. Never met a burger he didn't want to put down, Reid. And a lot of people could put him in the GOAT conversation with Bill Belichick and everybody else because of the current dynasty he's residing over right now, the Kansas City Chiefs. I say all that to say this. Enjoy the football season that we're in right now that's currently winding down. You got the AFC Championship game tomorrow. And you got the Super Bowl a couple weeks after that. But this coming NFL season, 2025, you're going to witness a classical moment that all of us as NFL fans, we need to enjoy and embrace this moment because it's rare. It's more rare than a lot of people might think. It's rare. Doesn't happen all the time. Doesn't happen. Something like this is just, I'm not going to say it's an anomaly because one day it might happen again, but this moment right now, we're actually living in it. These are 4 future Hall of Fame coaches, first ballot Hall of Fame coaches that are going to go head to head in the same division. Tell me this is not must-see football any and every time these teams face off. It doesn't matter what combination you want to put. It doesn't matter who's playing who, on whose field, on what day of the week. This is definitely must-see TV, no matter what. Because one thing we do know, I'm willing to bet, all of these teams are going to have a winning record. They're going to beat up on the rest of the league. And they're going to beat up on each other. I wouldn't be surprised if they split with each other and then they kick everybody else's ass throughout the league, leaving them all in the playoffs. And whoever wins this division probably will only win it by 1 game. Might be a tiebreaker situation. If they all split with each other, might be the whole strength of schedule, or you beat that team but they beat you. But so it's probably gonna end up being something like that. It's gonna be, you're going to have to get out the mathematical nerds with their calculators and their calculus ability to figure out, the percentages. Okay, this guy wins the division by this amount of percentage points. It's going to be crazy. And it's going to be, anybody that's a diehard NFL fan like myself, you're going to enjoy the coming NFL season, because my advice is just, take it all in. Take it all in. Because you may never see anything like this again in your lifetime. Some people, when they first started watching football and enjoying football, and then, they, whether it's the team in their city or they just happen to like a team in another city because they like a player or whatever, they become a fan of that team. That team is winning a lot. I use the Kansas City Chiefs as an example. Somebody that's young, a teenager, whatever. Or let's say he's 8, 9 years old, 10 years old. All he knows is, he loves NFL football now. He's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. All he knows is the Chiefs are a dynasty. They win. He has no recollection of how they was before Andy Reid. So once Andy Reid decides to retire, he hangs it up. Let's say Patrick Mahomes is still plays a few more years or whatever. Then he retires. Salary cap issues hit the organization. Then they got to rebuild. So now there's a lot of losing going on. Current new Kansas City Chiefs fans, they don't know what it was like before all the winning, before the dynasty. They don't know what that's like. So this is why I say enjoy the moment, because it's rare. It's not something that happens all the time. Even if it seems like it to you that it happens all the time in your lifetime, nah. No, sir. No, sir. It does not. So, to all my NFL fans out there, enjoy this moment. This division will be the best division in football come this fall. And I'm going to be there for every moment to enjoy it. This is Shy Out of Town Sports. And this is the end of this transmission. Hit the like button and share this video.